What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and show you what the technicals are showing for NIO and how this may affect the share price for the future. I'm also going to break down what the data shows for the overall market, why on earth a big investor, a big analyst from Deutsche Bank is bullish on NIO, why he thinks NIO is going to make a big move in the future, and why on earth he thinks NIO is super, super amazing. I'm also going to break down what NIO put on their Twitter page, which once again makes me very bullish after everything that's going on. But before I get started, before I get into any details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any of these 12 free stocks could be a free Tesla share, a free NIO share, or a mix of all of them. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 1 week. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So NIO's down 3.87% for the day, a little bit red overall, but the whole market did actually take a big hit. Now, something that's very important is to look at the SPY right now. We are seeing something massive going on. So if we look at the daily on SPY, you are going to notice the SPY came crashing down today. We got a bounce off that 363 range, but overall we're very close to the low for the year. The low for the year was around that 360, very low 360s, and SPY currently hit 363, so super close to it. Are we going to make a new low? We're going to have to find out a little bit later, but I do think that we actually have a long wick off this candle. We could see a slight reversal, a slight push up temporarily before we see more potential downside, just like how during these days when we have this candle, we get a big reversal of the trend, push up for a couple days, then we see another continuation down. So I do anticipate the market's going to kind of like cool off just for a couple of days, and we may see more downside after that. Now, for NIO, what does this essentially tell us? Well, it's worth noting when you look at the previous data, the price comparison between NIO and SPY, you're going to notice as SPY comes down, NIO has a tendency of following it. NIO was dropping earlier during the year, but overall the trend is very noticeable. You will notice that NIO pushed up as SPY pushed up. They both came down, they pushed up together. Now SPY is starting to crash, and NIO is holding up better than SPY. As we're seeing the price per ratios, NIO has a higher ratio overall, which goes to show that right now NIO is more volatile in a way, but we are showing more strength simultaneously. Many analysts are giving NIO lots of big buy ratings. We are seeing lots of volume around this 17.48 zone. When it comes to data, let's just go down here. You will notice that the short interest is actually spiking on NIO, so lots of shorts are starting to pile in. And this doesn't guarantee it's going to come down harder, but this is an indication that when we see these big moments, there could be a big reversal once the time is right. Now, it's also very correlated with different stocks out there, and we do have some big news coming out that I really want to talk about. So, I want to talk about this right here. So, NIO right now is in this state where we're seeing lots of chop in these zones, but our previous low was like right here. So, if you look at the low, the all-time low at least, I'm sorry, not the all-time low, the low of the year, NIO's low was at $11. Then after that, we came from the new low, like just about here, around that 16 range. And that's where I'm going to be very careful with NIO, because the Fibonacci retracement shows us both the 0.786 and 0.885 retracement zones are around that 16 range or a little bit lower. So if we don't get a double bounce of 16.5, this will have potential to come down harder. Now, what else is very big about NIO is when we look at the options chain, just like this, you're going to notice this. Max pain for NIO tends to be a lot higher than where the price actually is. Now, is this indicative that NIO is just going to explode overnight? Not necessarily, but we are still seeing a relatively low puts to call ratio. We're still seeing people load up on these calls, and the market makers don't want to hedge for this. This means that they're driving NIO down to eliminate a lot of gamma, right? So they don't want to see a squeeze or like a gamma squeeze just yet. So what I'm seeing on NIO is this. I'm anticipating a slight push to the upside. Let me use the 5-minute chart. A slight push to the upside for Monday, maybe parts of Tuesday. We should fill this gap up here first, and after that, the market may get another big rejection and NIO could come tumbling down again. We may break past, or I'm sorry, below 18, then we may come below 17.4 this time, and we have the potential to retest the 17 range. Now, this is a key zone because if NIO doesn't hold this, I'm going to be watching 16.5. I'm hoping that that's the bottom for this zone before we continue to move to the upside. If not, things could kind of get ugly from there. Now, if you look at historical data, the market tends to drop hard in September and finally starts to capitulate around as we come very close to like October, followed by a big reversal going into midterms. This is what historically happens, and so far the market has been following the September trend to a T. The big drop that comes in September, we already saw that. We're actually seeing it as I speak right now. The question is, what is NIO going to do? I am anticipating a big reversal within the next, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks for NIO. But until then, we could see more downside and more chop overall. So I am net bearish on NIO, at least just for the short term. Could we push up and fill this gap? Yes, we could do that for like a day or two before we see more potential downside. Many indicators are still suggesting we haven't seen a true trend reversal just yet. And that's the reason why I'm very, very cautious when it comes to the trades. Now, despite that, despite all what the market is doing, the long term is still going to be very, very bright. And we could see big analysts such as Edison Yu from Deutsche Bank is saying he's super bullish on NIO. He believes it has much more brighter days around the corner, and he believes soon the share price is going to soar. Now, the reason he believes this is because he was talking about the extensive growth in the company and a big shift in the market that a lot of people are kind of missing because there's the potential for the Fed to actually be a little bit too aggressive, leading to the potential for us to see a big reversal. So, if that's the case, the Fed may pivot back and forth between easing and tightening on quantitative policy. It could end up happening. And if that's the case, we could see a big improvement for NIO. But until then, we'll have to really wait and see. Many big investors believe the market may rally as we close the year, so maybe that could be good for NIO and really help this thing for the future. Now, what he mentioned though would be fundamentals. The fundamental improvements that they are making right now are going to be not just a lifeline, but the thing that helps this company soar, the thing that helps the share price go to new all time highs. The fundamentals are there, guys. The market isn't moving based off those yet. When fundamentals take control, NIO is going to explode. All right? Because there's so much growth we have to make up for. The share price is very undervalued, in my opinion. So, with that said, all these expansions, we're seeing NIO now mentioning that they're coming to Berlin on October 7th. Excuse me. NIO is doing absolutely fantastic. NIO is incredible because now we're seeing them all over Europe. We're talking about Hungary, we're talking about countries like Germany now. Amazing work that they're doing. Europe is arguably the second largest EV market in the world, like Europe collectively. So that is a big entry for them. When they gain exposure, lots of investors, lots of interest, it's going to be a thing of beauty, in my honest opinion. And I'm still insanely bullish for the future. With that said, guys, I'm excited about NIO's new expansion to Germany. Earnings is coming out. We're going to see new pieces of data for October. Be ready because maybe the short term isn't that great. For the long term, I'm very bullish, super bullish for NIO. So give them time, as many big investors talked about. Not to mention the fact that we're seeing NIO Park make big improvements to production. Super bullish, super excited, guys. Be patient, do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon because the long term future is bright, and peace out.